Identify the vertices and the foci of each of these ellipses and then sketch the graph. So here we have the standard form of the equation of an ellipse is x plus 1 whole square divided 25 plus y plus 1 whole square over 36 is equal to 1. So first we have to identify whether it is a horizontal ellipse or vertical, right? If it is, its orientation is like horizontal, the major axis, if it is horizontal, we have x minus h whole square over a square plus y minus k whole square over b square is equal to 1. Remember, a is always greater than b. So the greater number we have to call it as a. Alright. So whenever this a, that is the greater number, is under x minus h whole square, we can see that the ellipse's orientation is horizontal. But if the smaller number is under this x minus h whole square over b square, then it is a vertical orientation. So in the given scenario, we are seeing that the smaller number is under axis, right? X minus h whole square. So we can assume, or we'll conclude in fact, that you have a vertical ellipse. Now let us identify its parts, like what is the center in this scenario here. What is the center? You can find that is h comma k, then the foci, and whatever you need to draw the graph you can find and just draw a rough sketch of the given problem. Okay, so let us see. Now let us compare with this equation of an ellipse and write its values. The value of h, what do you see here? H is equal to plus 1, but in the formula it is x minus h whole square. So opposite of this I have to take. So that is h is equal to negative 1 and k is also negative 1. So that x minus negative 1 gives you x plus 1 whole square. Y minus negative 1 whole square gives you y plus 1. Negative of negative changes to positive. Similarly, this b square is equal to 25 b square. B square is 25 and a square is equal to how much? 36. So from b square 25, you will get b is equal to 5 and a is equal to 6. You can even find the value of c. C is equal to square root of a square minus b square. Making use of this relationship, c square equal to a square minus b square. So c is equal to square root of a square minus b squared. Okay, let us substitute. A square is 36, b square 25. So the value of c is equal to square root of 11. Alright. So first thing you have to find what are the vertices and then the foci. So alright, the formula for vertices is h comma k plus or minus a, right? And for foci it is h comma k plus or minus c. Okay, let us find one at a time. Let me find vertex is h. What is the value of h we have here? On the top it is negative 1 and k is also negative 1. Let me just write it down here. This h is negative 1, k also negative 1, and c is square root of 11, and in this case for vertices negative 1, k is negative 1, and a is 6. Similarly for co-vertex, This is h negative 1, b is 5, and k is negative 1. All those you can write it up if you want to. Now v, the vertex, is h value negative 1, comma, k is negative 1, plus a is how much? 6. So this is one vertex. That is negative 1, comma. What is negative 1 plus 6? That gives me 5. And another one, I have to add one time and subtract again. Right? Second time I have to do that. So negative 1, comma, negative 1 minus 6 gives me negative 1, comma, negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7. So these are the two vertices. So you answered one part, you got the vertices. Now look for the focus. So that is h, comma, k plus or minus c. So to get the focus, first focus is, I can even write v1 here, v2, focus 1, how much? Negative 1, comma, k is negative 1, plus c value is square root of 11, and the second focus f2 is negative 1, comma, negative 1 minus root 11. Alright, those are the two things they are asking. Find the vertices and the foci of this equation. You got those two values. Now we have to locate those points in this graph. Alright, so what is the first one? First vertex is negative 1, comma, negative 5, and the second vertex is negative 1, comma, negative 7. Okay, so let me see. X is negative 1, y is 5, so 5 here. Then negative 1, comma, negative 7. X value negative 1, y value is negative 7. See, we have seen that it is vertical major axis. That's why the values of x are same and the y values are changed. And this is your major axis of the ellipse from here to the right. Then find this focus. The first focus is a negative 1, comma, negative 1 plus root 11. So this is negative 1, negative 1 plus square root of 11. That's how much? 2.3166. So you can take this as 2.3. And the other one is negative 1 minus negative root 11. So just write minus here. And negative 4.3. Right? So this is 2.3 and negative 4.3. Alright. So this is negative 1, comma, 2.3. And that is negative 1, comma, negative 4.3. So negative 1, comma, 2.3. 2.5 is somewhere here, so a little down I'll go. That is one focus, and the other focus is 4.3. Negative 1, comma, negative 4.3. This is just before 4.5. So those are the two focuses, and then of course the center is h, comma, k, which is negative 1 and negative 1. This is the center, that's the midpoint for all these things. And if you find these co-vertices, that will help us to draw this ellipse in a better way, right? Even though you are asked to find only the vertices and the focus, let's go ahead and find these co-vertices also. So for co-vertices, this here I have -1, comma, and at -1 plus 5. Sorry, let me do it again. H plus B, -1 plus 5, that's the B value you have, and the K value is -1, to give us -1 plus 5 is how much? 4, and -1 is the Y coordinate, and then subtract this 5, that is -1 minus 5, comma, -1, to get -6, comma, -1. So 4, x value 4, y value -1, x 4, y -1, it is here, and then x -6, y -1, this is the other point, and the line joining those two is obtained. Now, so we have the vertices and co-vertices, and try to draw an ellipse closest to that. And in fact, you can also find 2 more points on this side and on the top and on bottom, and then draw an ellipse. Okay, so just try. The ellipse will appear like this. See, I just used this circle and ellipse figure, and try to get a closer, the one which is very close to that. Alright, you can take those points, and with pencil you try to connect all of them with a curved line. Right, that's how you can find it. Thank you.